The attachment.php page serves as a generic catch-all for basically anything that we would link to in the media gallery or that gets stored in the media section of our site. So this could be when you click through to the attachment page for an image or for a video, or even for things like a PDF or a text document. So this generic page can get a little bit complicated. So what we're going to do is just start off setting it up and spitting out some of the data that we get from things that are on this page, and then figuring out how to best handle it. And we'll be looking at all of the different fallbacks that come from the attachment.php page. So once we learn about something called the MIME type, which is a categorization of what type of file you're dealing with, whether it's an image, media, text document, application document, something like that, then we'll see that we could break our templates down into even more specific templates named based on their MIME type. So we could have a video.php template, an image.php, text.php, and application.php that will all handle these different types of files differently, that all fall back to the attachment.php page. So you may find that you need certain ones of these. You may find that you need some and not others, and probably not will it be the case that you need to use all of them unless you're designing a really generic theme that could work in any situation and has all of these things handled. So like I said, this could get a little bit complicated, and we'll have to introduce something called get post MIME type as well when we're looking at this, which can be helpful. However, let's start off looking at just the attachment.php page and some of the metadata we can get for attachments. So because attachment.php starts with a single .php as its fallback, what we will do is come into our project code and grab our single.php and do a file save as, and simply save that as attachment.php. So we'll update this down here. And this get template part, we're actually going to rip out, and we want to actually in this case just include all of that template code right there. So we could go into content and basically grab all of that and paste it in right there. So we have our article. We could thin this out a little bit. We could take out the author, for example. I'm just going to trim this down, but we still have the content and we have the comments. Okay, so does that make sense what we did? Basically, we pulled out a template part and we threw it in here. And that's just because I want to demonstrate some things without having to create a bunch more files. So the thing I really want to point out is right above the content comes out, I'm going to go ahead and give myself, a pre-tag, which will allow us to export out some code. And inside of that, I'm going to say var export and get the post. So if you remember back to the post up here in the loop, what that is doing is making the post available here. And I'm wrapping in some pre-tags so it'll be styled var exporting, and it's going to give us all that post data. And let's just look at what we've got here. So coming onto my site, in my sample page, I have an image that is linked up. If we come in here, double click on this, you can see that it links to the attachment page. So when you add a media file, you have the option to link directly to the file, to a custom URL, no link, or attachment page. Now, most often people don't use attachment pages, but when we're building out the templates, it's good to know that these exist and how to work with them. So let's go back to our page and click on that. And now notice that this spits out our content, gives us a description, and we're on the attachment.php page. Okay, cool. So now we could break down this data a little bit. And the thing I want to point out specifically is the post type is an attachment. Zoom in a little bit here so that's more clear. Post type is attachment. So this is a certain type of document that or file that we could have in WordPress. Posts, pages, and attachments are all technically considered posts or different post types. So that's going to show us that, okay, we are indeed dealing with an attachment, even though we might not think of images that way. Now, the other thing is the post MIME type, which we could get by using get post MIME type, but it's also here as part of our data object or our post object. And notice that it has two things. The first is image and then JPEG. So both of these are really helpful when it comes to building out templates, because we can create both an image.php template and a jpeg.php template. The same would be true if we pulled up a video or a movie. In fact, let's do that. The easiest way to do that for me is I'm just going to come into the media gallery, and I've given you some extra files to upload, but let's just go ahead and click on one, and then you could see view attachment page. And so the video isn't displaying here because we haven't written that code. But if we come down, notice that post MIME type is now video and MP4. So that would allow us to create a video.php template and an MP4.php template. You don't need to do both. It's just going to be the MIME type, and then this is what's referred to as the sub-MIME type. Let's look at one more example. So if I come back into the video gallery and I want to click on a PDF this time, and I'm going to view my attachment page, notice it's still post type attachment, but now it's saying the post MIME type is application.pdf or /PDF. So we could have a PDF.php template. We could also have an application one. And just to show you the variety here, one more, let's check out a Word doc or just a text document.txt, and notice that that's a text type plain. So this is where things can get really complicated. If you're trying to design a generic attachment.php, you have to think about how to code all of these different types of images, because it won't automatically necessarily display them. Notice that we have the content, but the content is not actually displaying the content that we would expect. We're going to have to go in and manually put in some links. So the important link I want to point out is GUID, or the unique ID for any type of content in the media library. And so when we create our custom download link or a custom image tag or something like that, then this is going to be how we will link to whatever it is that we want by grabbing the post and then GUID. So this is just a brief introduction. What I'd like you to do is set up your attachment.php page and put in this block to just echo out the data, begin clicking through and adding some things into the media gallery, opening up their media attachment page and looking at some of these. And then in the next video, we're going to break this down further and start creating some of the sub templates that we can within the attachment.php hierarchy.